We have gotten far afield, but I have to get to this next piece because I demanded that it be in the show so that I could gloat a little bit about it. Let's put this up on the screen. Dinesh D'Souza, who was himself
He was pardoned
for
straw donations
by Donald Trump. He put out his 2000 Mules documentary to great fanfare within MAGA world. He was hosted at Mar-a-Lago for a film screening. It might have even been the premiere sort of down there. He is now himself admitting that the central part of this film, which I watched, and you guys might remember I did a monologue about it saying how this was all total and complete bullshit. The central part of this film, he is now admitting completely false, completely wrong, apologizing to one of the people that he smeared as being one of these purported quote-unquote mules. So let me read you this from Rolling Stone. They say MAGA filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza issued a statement on Sunday admitting his most notorious project, the 2020 election conspiracy film 2000 Mules, was produced, quote, on the basis of inaccurate information provided to me and my team, includes an apology to a man named Mark Andrews, a Georgia man who sued Dinesh D'Souza and Salem Media Group, who were responsible for putting out the film, which, by the way, they ceased distribution of in the wake of these lawsuits and the revelations that the film was total and complete bullshit. Profit this film certainly did, though, politically and financially. They say it grossed over $10 million in revenue. As I mentioned, they had a private screening for it at Mar-a-Lago, helped to make Dinesh D'Souza even more influential. He writes in part, I apologize to Mr. Andrews. I make this apology not under the terms of a settlement agreement or other duress, but because it is the right thing to do, given what we have now learned. While I do not believe Mr. Andrews was ever identified by the film or book, I am sorry for any harm he believes he and his family have suffered as a result of 2000 Mules. D'Souza claims he had no idea the data provided by True the Vote was faulty at the time the film was released. Quote, True the Vote provided my team with ballot drop box surveillance footage that had been obtained through open records requests. We were assured that the surveillance videos had been linked to geolocation cell phone data such that each video depicted an individual who would make at least 10 visits to drop boxes, D'Souza writes. We recently learned that surveillance videos used in the film may not have actually been correlated with the geolocation data. And listen, as someone who did a monologue right at the time,
yeah, it was obvious at
the time that this was all total bunk and bullshit. This particular man, Mark Andrews, who he's apologizing to, who'd been portrayed as one of these mules, he just was dropping off the ballots for himself and his family, which is a perfectly reasonable and legal activity. So, you know, it's preposterous to imagine that he could not have known at the time that this was all completely phony bullshit. Because if I was able to discern this from the outside, surely the person putting the film together and sifting through all the data could have discerned that this was all utter and complete nonsense.
Yeah, if anything, there's been a healing effect on Stop the Steal since Trump's victory, where we can just admit all of these things now out loud and just be like, okay. And the Republican base has been satiated enough from Trump's victory in 2024 that they no longer have to cling.
Suddenly the elections are free and fair now that Donald Trump's won.
Yeah, well, you know, that's how it goes for them. Let's put this on the screen from Ann. Love Ann.
When Ann's right, she's right.
Ann is the GOAT. You can at least say this. She is a consistent woman. And she says, please think back to all the people who told you to watch Dinesh's 2000 Mules and never trust them again.
Well, that would include the incoming president of the United States, I believe.
Well, Ann and Trump are beefing. Don't forget. Ann has always called him. She's called him out. They've had a fraught relationship for a long time since she accused him of abandoning what he ran on in 2016. So that's why I think Ann is the GOAT.
So many charlatans and grifters. And the really sad thing is that he will pay zero price in terms of his reputation and credibility.
I mean, this is pretty bad. I will say that. Like that's
people
that's
will
bad.
Go right, whatever his next little project is, they'll eat it right up.
So I think you're right, but I also think that there was this I mean, I encounter this, you know, with the normal Republicans. You know, every once in a while, if you're in an Uber or something, and they'll just be like, so, do you really think the election wasn't stolen? And they'll ask about 2000 Mules or anything like that. If you calmly discuss, you know, with them, I think usually they'll come around to it and be like, okay, yeah, that actually sounds reasonable. But I think outside of the hardcore, you know, this stuff will not have as much I think, at least as a result of things like this, it will not have as much currency in the future. Trump is also extraordinarily unique as an ability to, claim things that are stolen to inspire his following. Look at that. Who's that guy who ran in Wisconsin? Hovde? Is that his name? Eric Hovde? He tried to play footsie with Stop the Steal. He just gave up. He was like, it's not working. In terms of, I think it was his election against Tammy Baldwin, and he was claiming something or whatever. It didn't land at all. Same with all of the other Republicans who lost in the swing states.
I just think we're in a place where people's trust in institutions has been understandably obliterated.
Yeah, it's zero.
And I think this is happening now on the liberal side as well, which is why I'm not even though MSNBC is sort of being destroyed, why I'm not that hopeful that what grows in the rubble is going to be better. Because when people's trust in institutions has been destroyed, it makes it very easy for charlatans like Dinesh D'Souza to come in and say, well, I'm telling you the truth that no one else wants you to hear. And if it's adversarial to the mainstream media, or if the mainstream media is attacking you over it, you use that as proof of your valor and your positioning as a truth teller. And there's so many people who have profited in exactly this way. The more shameless you're willing to be, the more successful you're going to be. And Dinesh's next thing is not going to be about the last conspiracy. It's going to be about whatever the next conspiracy is. And I think, again, I don't think that this will damage his credibility at all. And I think most of the people who watched 2000 Mules and believed it and took it seriously are not even going to see this apology and realize that they've been taken for a ride. So, it creates a real vulnerability. And this is not to defend the quote unquote institutions. They deserve the low level of trust that they have. They've earned it. That's their own fault. But then, there are so many charlatans who come in and fill the void and just claim that they're telling you some secret truth that's being hidden from you. It becomes very easy to manipulate people and get this sort of herd mentality going.
Yeah, well, I still think the apology is a good first step, so.
Well, it's better than no apology, I guess, now that it doesn't really matter, but whatever.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.